Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to the Archie Luxury channel. Let's start the ball rolling with viewer emails. Now, we've had a few emails come in and I'd like to read a few of them. Okay, here we go here. This is watch questions to Archie Luxury. Hi Archie. These questions may be too basic for your series and are all educated listeners, but I've heard you snub ETA a number of times. Being new to luxury watches, I did some research and read how ETA is part of the Swatch, a large corporate conglomerate, while companies you endorse manufacture in-house movements for the most part. I then read some forums that discussed the difference between the two, and the consensus seems to be that ETA is just as reliable and accurate as many of your Holy Trinity movements, and some movements such as the Orient may prove to be even more reliable. So is your passion for these high-end Swiss movements based on decorative beauty, collector's value and status, rather than value in terms of reliability and accuracy? Or are most of the people on these forums who say there's not a whole lot of difference between the two just fucking idiots? And he goes on to say what all this is leading up to. So let's just back the truck up and have a bit of a sticky beak at his comment there. So that's quite a for a novice punter. That's quite a good question, I would certainly say there. And look, the reason why I am so anti ETA, and now I'd like to draw this, paint this picture by using the car industry. Okay, so we're talking sports cars, and in the 70s. It was very common for a lot of new startup companies. What they would do is they would use a stock standard General Motors or a Ford or a Chrysler engine and put that into a car that they'd styled. And this is the same thing with an ETA movement. When you look at a Ferrari, what makes a Ferrari a Ferrari? It's that beautiful Ferrari engine. Okay, I know it's a bitch to service. I know the running costs are eye-watering. I know it's an absolute nightmare and it'll bankrupt most people. But when you look at a Ferrari, the beautiful thing about it is the fact that it's a Ferrari with a Ferrari engine in it. And I'd even go further and say, well, with a Ferrari itself there, you know, it's the whole package. It's the Ferrari engine, which the whole thing is based on. It's the Ferrari design, the Ferrari interior. It's all Ferrari. Now, they did use, of course, Italian styling houses to design and assist with these things, but it's all done as a group thought. Whereas if you place in a stock General Motors type engine or a Ford engine or a Chrysler engine, it's not really, the car's not built around the engine. It's just an engine they've taken off the shelf. It doesn't have that beauty or the romance to it. And this is the big thing. You know, you buy a Mercedes, okay? What is it? Engineered like no other car. It doesn't say engineered, styled like no other car with a General Motors V8 in it. And I mean, this is the whole thing with really top-end watches themselves there. You want to move away from pieces that have used stock standard generic type parts. And this is the whole thing. You're paying big money for a quality piece. You want something which has a movement which is made in-house, and that's what I'm referring to. The ETA movements, look, they are reliable and they will work, right? But what I'm trying to say is there's no imagination that's gone into it. You can criticize Rolex all you want, but one of the great things about Rolex is that it uses in-house movements, and these are movements which were designed by Rolex, manufactured by Rolex, so it gives it a great backbone to the piece. Whereas, say you look at, say, a Breitling, which has got a fucking Valjoux 7750 movement in it, as the chronograph movement, it's just, you know, you can get that movement in a Hamilton, you can get it in all sorts of fucking pieces, and it just loses the beauty that it had. And this is the whole thing. You know, a Ferrari is a Ferrari because it has that the movement, the engine is so essential to that car. Same with a watch. The movement, the engine of it is so important, and if you just slopped in a standard off-the-shelf ETA movement, it's really nothing special. And this person goes on, he goes, what he's leading up to is that I'm considering saving up for an off-white Xetum Tyndall. It's Xetum. What the fuck that is, I don't know. I know it's not a collector's watch, but it's a hip retro look, and I read it's an excellent value for money. And one of your many fans mentioned a watch called the Nomos. Yeah, that's right. Tangomat. Having never heard of it, I googled it and loved the look of that one too. Twice as expensive as the Xetum, but don't know if it's any better. I'm probably setting myself up to get ripped a new arsehole with these questions, but hey, I'm a newbie to luxury watches. And what's with Ulysses Nardin watches? Is it just me, or they really butt ugly? They look like watches for 60-year-old retired pimps. Yeah, I'm not a I've had a few Ulysses Nardin, and I got to tell you the truth there, I'm not a huge fan of them. But look, these ETA movements there, you want to try and steer clear. I mean, it's not, see your email's quite good there because you raise a few interesting points. It's not so much about having an accurate piece. If you want an accurate piece, go and buy a quartz piece. They are going to be so much more reliable and accurate than a fucking mechanical watch. But the beauty in a good mechanical watch is the fact that it's got a really snazzy movement to it. Now, I'm not saying, you know, I really do hate ETA movements. It's just generic and cheap. You look at some of the Holy Trinity members, Audemars and Vacheron, and they used Jaeger-LeCoultre based movements, and I think Jaeger-LeCoultre based movements are fantastic. But it's a different kind of thing I'm trying to explain here. But ETA suck. They suck. There's nothing special about a piece which has an ETA movement. As I said, it's like a sports car with a generic engine in it. Sure, it's cheap to run, but it's a bitch as far as collectability goes. Okay, next viewer email. Now this viewer email, I was actually going to make a video on this piece, and I'm not quite sure whether this viewer is 100% kosher or not. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You just don't know how these punters sort of these punters fucking get their jollies. But let's just accept his you know, I think this email is fake, to be honest with you, because anyone who's got a fucking Patek travel time, surely they can afford a pissy $100 digital point-and-shoot digital camera. I mean, that's just being honest there. But let's have a look at it and see what the punter says. Hi, Archie. He goes on to say there, he wants me to evaluate his collection. Okay. On his side, he's got a Patek 5134G travel time. That's his fuck off piece. He's got a Rolex GMT2 stainless steel, the Coke model. That's his sports daily wearer. He's got a Rolex Explorer 2 black dial. So he's got the GMT2 and he's got the Explorer 2. Okay. He's got a Rolex Datejust with white gold stainless steel with diamond Jubilee dial and bracelet. That's his Bordello piece. He's got a Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon with sapphire exhibition back, known as the Sapphire Sandwich. It's his historical piece of interest. And he's got a Gerard Perregay 1950 stainless steel with stainless bracelet. It's his vintage piece. Yeah, I think, you know, what do I think if he's real and not fake? Well, I think the Patek is a fucking gorgeous thing. That's great. He's got too many GMT pieces. Why would you have a GMT and Explorer 2? It's doubling up that sort of that genre. I'd probably say you're better off to have an Explorer 2 and a sub, preferably a no date sub. That's what I'd be doing in that sort of collection. He's got a Rolex Datejust with diamonds. Oh, geez, you know, it's getting too heavy into Rolexes. I'd probably flick that and get a Royal Oak. That'd be a much better piece to have. He's got a Speedmaster. That's fine. Gerard Perregay. I'm not a huge Gerard Perregay fan, but yeah, that's not too bad. It's on his side. On her side, he's got a Patek 24, stainless steel with diamonds. And he's got a Rolex Air King 34mm stainless steel with oyster bracelet, smooth bezel and baton markers. It's mid-size men's watch and now style for women. So he's asking me, what do I think? Yeah, that's not too bad there. I love the Patek 24. It's a great piece, expensive, but yeah, I'd probably throw in a yellow gold piece for the lady. But to round out my collection, I'm thinking of getting a vintage dress watch in precious metal, perhaps a 50s, 60s Vacheron. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea there. Not a, I don't know if this punter's for real, because, I mean, fuck, if you've got so many pieces, wouldn't you have a $100 shooting point camera? Next viewer email. And it's, what's your opinion of Louis Vuitton and Hublot watches? Look, Louis Vuitton is a great company for making luggage, briefcases, ladies' purses, but they don't have the watchmaking heritage. So, you know, I'm always a bit skeptical of those things there. Yeah, sorry, I'm not a big Louis Vuitton watch fan. Hublot watches, they make some pretty vulgar sort of pieces. I'm never been a Hublot fan. I mean, if you're going to buy something expensive, get a Patek. Simple as that. You know, Hublot is not a brand that I'm that keen about there. So yeah, that's my opinion. That's been the viewer emails for this week. I'm Archie Luxury. Keep them coming, and I'll chat to you later. Bye.